Thank you, Councillor Barlow. Are there other members of the committee that wish to speak that haven't as yet? Well, I'll just say a few words then, and I guess we can then move forward from there. First of all, as Councillor Barlow just said, you can't say thank you to the staff often enough. And you know, there have been people who've sort of said somehow that this report emerged out of some wish to satisfy some particular group or some particular point of view on all this. I can tell you right now, and I think the proof of the pudding is that I was going to say I have scars. I don't have any scars, but I had a few bruises to show for the fact that our professional planning staff, led by our chief planner, when they feel that they have a particular point of view, they don't hesitate to put it forward, and whether it curries favor with one group or another. And I had some bruises, Twitter bruises I'd call them. It's a unique kind of bruising, but the nice thing about bruises is they go away. And so there are some reports, just like everything else, that they'll prepare that some people will like and some reports they won't like. But I think if they're professional, that's what we ask for, and that's what we have the right to receive, and that's what the public should expect. And in this case, I want to particularly commend Jennifer Keesmaat and her staff for what they've done. And what they've put forward here is something that I think escapes the sort of polarized, I'm not even sure, they weren't ideological, they were just polarized debates of the past, and tries to put forward a plan. And it's a plan that has goals and priorities and criteria that then lead to a conclusion. And I think if we're looking for a plan that's going to be unanimously supported by everybody in the city, every member of City Council, every citizen, we'll be waiting forever. And isn't that just the point? That the reason that I'm so supportive of moving this forward, and quite frankly not today adding a bell here and a whistle there or more things to be studied and so on, is that the real bottom line is that we have not, after all this time that's gone on long before I was here, not built any transit in Scarborough. As part of the city that is a residence to 625,000 people, that should be a hub for all kinds of new jobs and investment going forward, so that people can work closer to their home and just so people can work in that part of the city or work anywhere for that matter. And this, I think, has the makings of the right kind of plan, the right kind of plan to do that. What does it do? Does it enhance the connection of jobs to people? Definitely. Does it enhance the connection between people and education? Definitely. Does it enhance service to connect neighborhoods, especially neighborhood improvement areas, to the rest of the city and to the opportunity for jobs and education? Absolutely. Does it enhance the chances of making the Scarborough city centre an even more dynamic place that will be a magnet for the new kinds of jobs and for people who want to innovate and people who may say, you know, there's a real opportunity. There are lots of people out there who are looking for a place other than downtown to go because it will be a little bit cheaper and it will be this and it will be that. They're pioneers and they're looking for a place, but they're not going to find a place that isn't connected by transit. And so this is going to provide at last that express connection between the city centre of Scarborough, an area when it used to be a city, and it still is an important part of this city, of 600,000 people. And it's going to attract investors and jobs and make the Scarborough city centre a home for innovation, a great place, an even greater place to live, a great place for arts and culture and all the things. Make that civic centre that's there, as much as it needs to be itself redeveloped, a place where people will team to get there because they can get there on proper transit. So I think if you sort of want to start putting tick marks beside this, I mean, I would put a tick mark beside the fact that you take a handful today, a handful that were planned on any plan that's been on the books before now of higher order transit stations, and take that number to 26 or something in that neighborhood, boy, that deserves a tick mark. A tick mark that you're going to have a north-south transit spine. We've heard today that that's been missing in Scarborough, and it actually then gives a place for all these buses to go other than just to funnel everybody over to Yonge Street and have them go south and contribute. This will provide some relief for the Yonge Street subway line. The facts back that up. Better transit for neighborhoods. There's a tick mark beside that. Better express connection between the Scarborough City Centre and the Bloor-Danforth subway. And again, I say this all the time, and people don't disagree. If the RT had never been built, and God bless him, it was my friend and my political mentor, Bill Davis, that built the RT to showcase that transit they were promoting at the time. If that had never been built, what would they have done to the Scarborough Centre long before now? Extended the Bloor-Danforth subway there. That's what this is. They would have done it decades ago had he not built that RT. So I don't want to say it's his fault to get mad at me, because he still follows these debates. But the bottom line is, when they put that in, they postponed something that is now going to happen, that was on the books. It's been contemplated an express connection of this kind since official plans, I think, going back to 1968. Is it going to be added to what's already been done? And Chair Cole referred to this earlier on, which is better bus service. I am proud of the fact that this city council, yes, under my leadership, reinstated bus lines that had been canceled in the previous term and is adding new express bus routes and other bus service now that will feed in to this higher order transit and make sure we do, in fact, connect people up to transit. And is it more and better transit, which is the ultimate test for roughly the same amount of money? Absolutely, that's what it is. And I think when it comes to what the people expect of us, that's exactly what they expect us to do. And in this case, the staff, deserve the credit for sort of having looked at all of this and all these debates and all these proposals and bells and whistles and decisions and non-decisions, and have come forward with a plan that I think has the best chance of drawing the broadest consensus and achieving all the things that I just mentioned. And so I know there are those, and I'm sort of figuring out how this place works, and there are those who would use endless studies and adding things on and saying we're not ready and saying we should have more things before we decide as a means of just postponing a decision. And sometimes I even think there are people who don't want any transit at all to be built to Scarborough beyond what we've already got. And I'm not trying to polarize that debate. I'm just trying to say I think there are people who believe that, and if they say so, that's fine. That's a perfectly valid point of view. I just don't happen to accept it. What I think people want us to do is this kind of planning that we've done, and most of all, get on with it. Get on with it, so that they can see us doing something that's sensible, but that we just do something. And so I'm very committed to pushing this forward, and I'll be campaigning for it, campaigning in that sense that we do around here to gain the support. And finally, to Councillor Prutz's point, I wouldn't have sort of said, yeah, let's bring this forward if I hadn't believed, just based on actual consultation, there was a very broad base of support for this on the City Council. Because I'm not about creating new polarized debates that go down in flames. And so I did my homework in that regard, and so I'd say it's not the same as a City Council meeting, but quite frankly, it may be better. Just in terms of consulting a lot of people to see what their thoughts were on this. So my time is up, and so I thank you for your attention. So we have here just one motion, am I right?